Joining me right now is Dom Smith. Of course, we'll talk about the games and exactly what happened in the UEFA Champions League. Thank you very much, Dom, for joining us today.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. We would see Liverpool take on Everton today, and it is a must-win for both sides. For Liverpool, they want to extend their lead at the top of the EPL table, knowing that they crashed out of the cup competition some days back, and they want to revive and stamp their feet as one of the best clubs in England, and also topping the table with as much as 9 points in the EPL. Is that doable against an Everton side who have been very, very defensive this season?
Well, this match has obviously been rescheduled. It was supposed to take place in December, but it got moved after some sort of thunderstorms in December. And I think at that time it looked like Liverpool would probably have cruised to victory in this match, but I'm not so sure that will happen now. I mean, Everton have been rejuvenated under David Moyes. They've won a lot of games in their opening few matches under him, and they just look a much more composed team, a lot more organised than they were at the end of Sean Dyche's reign. And in terms of Liverpool, I mean, they had a bit of a mid-season slump, didn't they? But I think they're fully back to form now. They've been doing amazingly well in the Champions League and in the Premier League, although, of course, they went out in surprising circumstances of the FA Cup against Plymouth of the Championship. But I think Liverpool certainly will go in as favourites. They'll expect to do well. The likes of Arsenal will be hoping, of course, that Liverpool slip up because Arsenal are, obviously in a title challenge, but they're in difficult circumstances, and they've just found out today that they've got Kai Havertz, their main striker, their only striker really, is out for potentially the whole of the rest of the season with a hamstring injury that he's just sustained in the United Arab Emirates in training. So yes, Liverpool certainly the favourites for the game, but Everton will put up more of a fight than I think they would have been able to a month ago.
Right, and I was also going to break the heart of Arsenal fans because that news came in a few minutes ago that Kai Havertz might just be ruled out for the rest of the season. Agbomidepo, let me ask you this now. Arsenal couldn't get a player, they couldn't get strikers, they couldn't get anybody during the transfer window. All we got from Arsenal was all rumors, speculations. We need players. This will happen, but nobody came through for Arsenal. Now, Kai Havertz is injured, joining the list of Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Jesus, and Martinelli. Agbomidepo, do you still think Arsenal are title contenders?
Oh, right. I think I've said it on this show before. I've never thought Arsenal as title contenders, honestly speaking. I think, with the form Nottingham Forest is in at this point, I think they are closer to winning the title than Arsenal would be, because you don't keep making the same mistakes, season after season, day after day, and expect something to change. It was the same error that was made, last season, 2 seasons ago. You get the transfer window for you to make a significant change, to bring in players that can help your title push, that can help your challenge for the title. But you keep, the rumors just keep on going from the day one of the opening of the transfer market till the ending of, the closing of the transfer market. Nothing happens. No action, by the board, no action by the manager. And, it gets worse for you when a scenario like this occurs again, when you lose we don't know. Personally, I'm still unsure if Kai Havertz is actually a striker or an attacking midfielder. And I think it's an identity crisis that he's having as well at the club level, which I think Arsenal should find a solution for at this point. Now he's injured. The semi-striker is injured. So what do Arsenal do? They play with another false nine again. Because believe you me, I think Arteta, would follow in the model of his role model, Pep Guardiola, and probably use a false nine. But at the end of the day, this is not an Arsenal side that looks like winning the league, if you'd ask me. You do not win the EPL, most especially, without a proper striker. Even Pep Guardiola realized that and had to go bring a Haaland to come and get the job done for him as well. So I think at this point, I do not see Arsenal winning the Premier League or being the title challengers anyway at this point.
Dom, do you agree that Arsenal are not title content? Because, for 2 seasons now, they've been able to battle Manchester City, although they finished second, but they've not gotten that proper striker that they need. Do you agree that they are not title contenders?
I think they are title contenders, but they're definitely outsiders, and I don't expect them to win the Premier League at all. I mean, they're just quite far off Liverpool already. They've already got quite a significant gap on Arsenal, haven't they, Liverpool? But also, yeah, it's the lack of strength in depth. I mean, they have a really impressive defence. We know that they can score a lot of goals from set pieces, although they were doing that so much in the autumn that, of course, that was going to drop off a little bit, and it has done in recent weeks. Look, what they lack is depth in positions like the centre-forward position, and that is probably one of the most important positions on the football pitch. I mean, now that we've found out that Kai Havertz is out for the rest of the season, there's talk about maybe Leandro Trossard having to play as a striker, or even the midfielder Mikel Merino. And these are not the sort of players that you want to be relying on as a sort of number 9, a focal point forward. This is a nightmare really for Arsenal, especially considering we know that they were trying to sign a striker in the January transfer window just gone, but they didn't manage to get one over the line because they wanted to look at only premium targets, the likes of Benjamin Sesko, and these sorts of players are really, really expensive to sign. So in the end, they've waited to the summer, but that looks like it may backfire in terms of this season. I don't see what they can do to level the playing field and get back to terms with Liverpool now. I mean, Liverpool have got such depth in attack that I don't see Arsenal being able to recover that now. Are they contenders? I'd say they are contenders. I'd say Chelsea and Liverpool are contenders, but are they going to win it? No, I think that Liverpool will quite comfortably win the Premier League this season.
Oh, wow. That's a strong call. Liverpool will win the title this season. And I'm sure that'll be exciting news for Liverpool fans if they get to win it. But yes, the battle is still on, and we'll see what Mikel Arteta will bring forth during their next game. I think it's against Leicester City come the EPL this weekend. Talking about the players in the EPL, another man who is out injured is Taiwo Awoniyi, getting injured in that game against for Nottingham Forest against Exeter. But for Nottingham, they survived the huge FA Cup scare against 10th-player Exeter to win a penalty shootout after drawing 2-2 at St James's Park. Chris Wood, Morgan Gibbs-White, and Elliot Anderson all scored from the spots before fellow substitute Neco Williams wrapped up a marathon tie with the final kick of the contest. Forest, who are third in the Premier League and one of the highest-ranked teams left in the FA Cup, will play Ipswich at home in round 5. It was a huge performance from Exeter, and I'm sure the fans are quite excited in that for making Nottingham Forest work for that game to ensure that they won that game later on. But of course, congratulations to Nottingham moving on to the 5th round, and we'll see how they perform against Ipswich. But let's switch gears now to the UEFA Champions League, and of course, we look forward to more exciting games later today. But yesterday, starting off from the game between Real Madrid and Manchester City, well, Dom, let me ask you this first. What do you think about Manchester City? Do you think they get really, really petty in how they get to respond to their opponents, especially with that banner that was put out for Real Madrid, talking about that Ballon d'Or issue they had between Rodri and Vinicius Jr.?
Yeah, for those who haven't seen that, Manchester City fans unfurled a big banner at the Etihad which said "Stop crying your heart out," and it showed a photo of Rodri holding the Ballon d'Or trophy. And "Stop crying your heart out," of course, is lyrics from Oasis, and Oasis, Liam Gallagher and Noel Gallagher, the brothers, are Manchester City fans. And of course, that was in relation to Real Madrid boycotting the Ballon d'Or ceremony in the autumn when they felt that Vinicius Jr. should have won it. I did think that from Real Madrid back in the autumn was absolutely pathetic, to be honest. I mean, not to even attend the trophy ceremony, I thought was really childish. And I understand, football is about rivalry, and I understand why Manchester City had unfurled that banner, and it was funny. It is a good sort of comic banner. But you then need to go and back that up with a performance, of course. And I know that the club itself didn't do the banner. It was the fans, so it's a little bit different. But of course, you then need to go and back that up with a result. And Manchester City were winning as late as the 86th minute, and then they lost, of course. And I believe that Real Madrid have now won games against Manchester City with winning goals in the 90th minute or stoppage time, 3 separate occasions in the Champions League now. Real Madrid have beaten City in stoppage time in the Champions League, and that is more than against any other team. So City have now got a bit of a penchant for sort of collapsing against Real Madrid. And I think on the balance of play, it was probably deserved that Real Madrid went through. It was quite an even game, I think, but City have left themselves with a lot to do in the second leg now.
Right, a lot to do in the second leg. Gwemi Depo, do you have a doctor? Because we need to check on Aguero, who made a comment before that game saying if Real Madrid wins against Manchester City, then he's going to cut off a part of his body. So we need a doctor to really go check on Aguero if that has happened to him. But I mean, what was he thinking if he was going to make that comment? Did he forget he was playing against Real Madrid?
I think Aguero's mistake for me uttering the statement was he should have verified the opponent Manchester City will be playing again against, which is Real Madrid, and they are the king of the Champions League, and their forms, at La Liga or in any other cup competitions does not matter when they play the Champions League, and that is the truth. I've seen a lot of pictures here and there, edited pictures where it shows that they've actually helped him out to do the operation, but actually I don't think he has, and I don't think he would actually. It is just a statement of emphasis and belief in his former side, Manchester City, and getting the job done against Real Madrid. But I think, like I said earlier on, it was just a bit of, should I say, it was a bit mouthy making that statement because it is against Real Madrid and they are the king of the Champions League, so they deserve the respect, and I think they should be getting that from him at this point in time.
All right, let's listen to the managers talking about Pep Guardiola and Carlo Ancelotti after that game went down.
The Spanish journalist, the defense is not individual problem. Defense is team problem. And so today we were able to be a team, to defend well, and also the four defenders that never played together were able to play a good game because the team worked really well defensively. Sí, no, claramente para la vuelta necesitamos a Rudiger, necesitamos a Alaba, creo que volverán para la vuelta, pero la verdad es que más la emergencia más sacrificio saca este equipo. Ha pasado el año pasado, un poco menos este año, pero en este sentido ha sido un partido bastante sorprendente. No pensaba que esto, en este momento, que el equipo fuese capaz de tener un sacrificio así.
It belong to all of us. It's not to the players. I don't have a problem to accept that it doesn't work like it worked in the past. I'm not a problem, but it's all of us. For me, it would be easy to say no and blame one player, specific player, or blame whatever. That is ridiculous. So it's not. That doesn't work. It's all of us. Me the first, because that's why I'm here for many years, and of course the players as well. So this is the truth, and they want it. Yes, of course, how they run, how they do it. But the truth is that we are not stable enough in that moments to do things that they happen not today.
Pep Guardiola saying the players are not to blame. One player is not to blame. Everyone has to be blamed, including himself being the manager of the club. But still talking about that game, inside a parked corner cafe in Cairo's eastern district of Heliopolis, eyes were actually glued to a TV set because right there in Egypt, a lot of fans came out to watch the game, but of course the focus was on one man, Mamouche, who just signed for Manchester City, and the fans said they were quite excited seeing that he played for Manchester City, and they couldn't help but clap for one of their own. Let's hear from these fans who watched that game and watched their superstar Mamouche played. And some of them said you cannot compare him yet with Mo Salah because he's just getting to England, and Salah is already used to the environment right there in England. Let's hear from the fans.
مرموش احنا فعلا في القهاوي حتى لو الناس ما بتحبش السيتي قوي بجد مبسوطه له قوي، مبسوطه له جدا جدا جدا. حتى لما مثلا بيبقى مش نازل في التشكيل الاساسي بحس ان الناس زعلانه بجد، الناس بيبان على وشها. هو ضغط جامد جدا، ضغط كبير جدا ان هو يتعامل مع يعني في المان سيتي ومع جوارديولا، ضغط كبير قوي ان الناس كلها خلاص بقت مستنياه ان هو يبقى صلاح الجديد. برضه ان انت تبقى يعني صلاح على سقف طموحنا قوي، احنا ما كناش متخيلين ان احنا ممكن اصلا نشوف لعيب في التوب فورم بتاعته كذا سنه ورا بعض. فطبعا انا اتمنى ان مرموش يبقى كده اكيد.
لسه بدري طبعا ان هو يتقارن بصلاح، ان هو صلاح اديله 8 سنين من احسن الونجات اللي جت في تاريخ الدوري الانجليزي. انا برايي هو من احسن 3 لعيبه جم في الدوري الانجليزي. فطبعا لسه بدري ان هو نقارن واحد اديله لعب ماتشين بواحد، ما في لعيبه كل مره يعني كل سنه لعيبه ب 70 80 مليون بتروح الدوري الانجليزي محدش بيقارنه. فمش عاوزين نضغط عليه عشان الجنسيه وان هو عنده الفخر العربي الجديد. يبقى كل واحد ليه طريقه احسن يعني.
هو لسه لعب اول ماتشين دلوقتي فمحتاجين نصبر عليه شويه. هو كده ان شاء الله يعني ان شاء الله هيعمل ماتشات كويسه. محتاجين بس نديله فرصه نصبر عليه بس ما نحطش عليه اي ضغوطات يعني.
Mamouche should not be put under any sort of pressure. He will come good for Manchester City. Right, still talking about the UEFA Champions League. We saw other games played yesterday. For Borussia Dortmund, they did earn a huge victory over Sporting, and they have an advantage from the first leg of that encounter. But let's talk about Juve now. They played against PSV, I beg your pardon, and they won that game by 2-1. Now, looking at these playoff tournament, talking about the knockout playoffs in the UEFA Champions League, Dom, what do you make of the new format? Because if it was the old format, we would have seen the big boys, so to speak, they would have qualified for the next round. But now they are struggling, and one of them would be knocked out of the Champions League this season. Either Manchester City or Real Madrid will go home this season.
I think that UEFA will be pleased that there has been a tie like Manchester City versus Real Madrid, because you do want that sort of drama. And you know, if you take that tie out of it, the other ones in this knockout phase are looking a little bit weaker than you'd expect from Champions League knockouts, which is understandable because it's this extra round, isn't it, of course. But I think ultimately they'll be pleased that they've got Real Madrid versus Manchester City, and they'll be very happy, UEFA, with how the first leg went. Of course, 5 goals and a stoppage time winner for Real Madrid is exactly what UEFA would have wanted to see. But I can't help but say that it is ultimately a money-grabbing ploy, really. I mean, to increase the Champions League from 32 teams to 36, which doesn't even divide down by 4. I mean, a knockout competition is perfect when you have 32 teams or 16 or 64. So to make it 36 and just increase by 4 teams, it's simply to get more money and to get more income. And I don't think it makes the competition easier to follow. I think it makes it more complicated to follow. I don't think it adds more drama, but I'm not so sure that UEFA care about it making sense. They care about the bottom line and having more games, and they get both with this. So I understand it, but I can't say that I like it.
All right. A lot of fans would not tell you that they love it, but of course, following the new format, we just want to enjoy the very best of football. And some of these players actually complaining about fatigue and the endless numbers of games that they have to play. But let's take a look at the results of the games played yesterday. Brest lost to Paris Saint-Germain 3-0. There was Juve beating PSV Eindhoven 2-1. Manchester City lost to Real Madrid 3-2. And Sporting lost to Borussia Dortmund by 3-0. And today, looking at the fixtures, Club Brugge will be up against Atalanta. And AS Monaco takes on Benfica. Celtic versus Bayern Munich. And Feyenoord will take on AC Milan. These are the games to go down in the UEFA Champions League knockout stage today. Dom, would you want to make a peek in the games to go down today?
A peak player to turn up today?
Yeah, the games that we're playing today, AC Milan versus Feyenoord, Bayern Munich versus Celtic, Benfica taking on Monaco, and Atalanta versus Club Brugge. Anyone, you want to make predictions?
I mean, I think that Bayern Munich should probably get that done. I think that, Harry Kane's been in very good form, and the same is true of players like Michael Olise. So I'd certainly expect that. And we know that AC Milan have got good pedigree in the Champions League as well, in terms of being multi winners. They've, of course, the extent to which AC Milan were the biggest club in Italy has probably been tested in recent years with Juventus and Inter Milan coming back into it. But I'd probably expect AC Milan to get a decent result today as well.
All right. We look forward to those interesting games to go down in the UEFA Champions League later today. I'd say, Dom, thank you very much for joining the show today. We look forward to having you again.
Thank you very much. I've enjoyed it.
All right, Gbemideko, looking at, I know, yes, you're not a gambler, but I would love to get your predictions for the games that will go down today. Bayern Munich, away from home, they're playing against Celtic, and we know that Celtic, they love to score goals. Bayern love to score goals, but they can get very stingy with their goals sometimes. So which of these games are you looking forward to? There's Atalanta versus Club Brugge, AS Monaco takes on Benfica, Bayern versus Celtic, and Feyenoord versus AC Milan.
I think Bayern versus Celtic is, gets my attention, grabs my attention, because I feel both teams are teams that love to score. Both teams love to attack, and I think it will be the battle of the attack. It's about who scores more. On balance of play, on paper, I think Bayern Munich has the stronger side. But Scottish teams always bring elements of surprises at times in their game, and I think Celtic might get a goal in that one, but Bayern Munich to win in that one as well. But it might just be about who scores more. And I think Bayern Munich would have the upper hand with the quality of players they have and the form they are in at this point in time.
All right, quality of players and the form. At this point in time, Bayern Munich should clinch that one against Celtic. We see how that turns out for the German champions right there, who are not having it so easy in the Bundesliga as well. Thank you very much, Bimidepo, for joining the show today. We hope that your prediction comes through. I'll be here tomorrow.